Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight's headlines. So we have the Ministerial Conference on Labor, Employment and Labor Migration. For the international scene in Cameroon, selection operation for CAN 2021. Welcome to our newsroom. Djibouti, like the Muslim world, celebrated last night the blessed feast of Mawlid al-Nabi, which commemorates the birth of our Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him. This feast is celebrated every year on 12th day of the month of Rabi al-Awwal of the Muslim calendar. More than a religious feast than recalls the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is also a feast of joy and sharing in all Muslim families. As usual, religious ceremonies are organized in the municipality of Bulaus and Balbala, notably in the neighborhood 6th, Engela and Cité Nasib. The population celebrated together a moment of meditation and reflections on the work of our Prophet and a reminder of the message of love, peace, and mercy. The IGAD Ministerial Conference on Labor, Employment and Labor Migration opened early this morning at Campus Key. This the first of its kind. The conference was organized by the Ministry of Labor in charges of formalization and social protection. IGAD, the International Labor Organization, and the European Union. The ministerial meeting will examine ways to improve coordination and actions to strengthen regional collaboration on labor and employment issues. It will be preceded by a high-level experts meeting to be held on October 19-20 at Campus Key Hotels in Djibouti City, Djibouti. The overall objectives of the meeting is to improve and establish a platform for regional coordination and action between the Ministries of Labor and Employment of IGAD member states and the social partners on labor-related challenges in the regions and to take common positions on some of the common issues in the region.
Regional level. One of the most common challenges we face today is as a region is related to the issue of the labor and employment. As we all know, also our region has a high level of unemployment and also underemployment. While several countries have experienced strong economic growth in recent years, this has been yet to translate into a significant job creation.
It's a pleasure to see that the IGAD Ministerial Conference on Employment and Labor is finally taking place, starting with the expert meeting today and tomorrow and culminating in the ministerial meeting on Thursday. This conference is organized in the framework of the IGAD ILO project called Towards Free Movement of Persons and Transhumans and Improved Labor Mobility in the IGAD region, supported by the EU. Within this project, IGAD has developed the protocols on free movement of persons and transhumans. The protocols were adopted by the IGAD Council of Ministers in June this year. In parallel, as you know, the African Continental Free Trade Area is starting to exist. Both provide a legal basis for the mobility of workers. Both will create opportunities for labor migration.
For his part, the Minister of Labor, Ismail Ibrahim Roble, explained in his speech that the actors around this issue, all the ministers of labor of IGAD's member country, all gathered to put in place a concrete measure in the is hard on mediums on a process registered in the long term. To do this, establish a pragmatic and bold action plan to commensurate with the magnitude reached by the phenomenon will be able to provide appropriate responses during these 3 days of debate and panel discussions. A large Djiboutian delegation led by the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Moussa Dawale, went to Istanbul for a working visit on the development of finance in Djibouti. Ms. Fatima El Sheikh, the UNDP resident representative in Djibouti, is a part of the delegation. This morning, the delegation visited the Development Bank of Turkey, where they were able to meet with the management of this Turkish institution, which is a public bank whose objective is to support the strategic goals defined by the government, particularly in its development plans by distributing long-term loan to large companies of the small medium enterprises in priority sectors. The exchanges were fruitful, and the partnership between the FTED and the Turkish Development Bank was established with the support and guidance of the UNDP International Center for Private Sector Development. The Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, met with the resident coordinator of the United Nations system, the acting resident representative, Eric Overvest, accompanied by the development coordinator officer, Mr. Danon Genezale. This meeting took place on Sunday, October 17, 2021, in the offices of the Minister in the presence of his close collaborator, the Minister of Trade and Tourism. Welcome Mr. Eric Overvest and wished him success in his new position, as he stressed the importance of working and collaborating together to develop mainly in the field of tourism, which is a priority theme of this 5-year term. Cooperation between the United Nations and the Ministry of Commerce Tourism will also cover all other areas, such as the constructions of an artisanal village and the promotions of regional integration. The first session of the steering committee of the project of Integrated Water Resources Management, PGIR, was held yesterday at the People's Palace and was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ibrahim Almi Mohamed. The Integrated Water Resources Management project aims to develop an inclusive approach to support populations in poverty affected by the effects of climate change, while creating the basis for sustainable development for integrated water resources management. This project aims to preserve as much water as possible through appropriate demand management and improve the resilience of ecosystems to climate change, as well as build the capacity of water utilities for effective management of water systems. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ibrahim Almi Mohamed, on the ins and outs of the PGIR project, the Integrated Water Resources Management project aims to develop an inclusive approach to support populations in poverty affected by the effects of climate change, while creating the basis for sustainable development for integrated water resources management. Early in the day of Tuesday, October 19, 2021, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, presided over a ceremony to award trips to the soldiers of the Rapid Action Force, FAR, member of the paramilitary and of the National Police and the gendarme. This ceremony took place at Lakasal in the region of Tajorat. Indeed, the Rapid Action Forces reinforced by a paramilitary company of the National Police and a company of the National Gendarmerie has been deployed for 1 month on the ground to carry out the combined and nomadization missions in searches of criminals whose aim is to destabilize the country by unhealthy acts. This operation is also allowed to preserve the sovereignty of the country and the protections of our citizens. Thus, the defense and security forces working in a perfect symbiosis crisscross all the corners of the northern region is the most remote and difficult to access area to carry out their assigned missions. Upon his arrival, the Chief of the Staff was welcomed by Colonel Ibrahim Ali Farah, Chief of Staff of the Rapid Action Force. Thereafter, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim reviewed the troops composed of a unit of the Rapid Action Force and a paramilitary unit of the National Police and a company of the National Gendarmerie. After the review of the troops, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim addressed the defense and security forces engaged in this nomadic mission. The Chief of the Defense Staff first congratulated the strong, commendable actions of these soldiers. He indicated that the defense and security forces are the forces of the country that guarantee national security, protection, and sovereignty. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim underlined that this day commemorates your courage and your assiduity in the efforts and work done. It is with great pleasure that I congratulate you on behalf of the Ministry of Defense. This promotion is amply deserved and testifies to your commitment to the countries in our own missions. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim did not fail to recall the general status of the military which governs the life of the soldiers and which testifies to his availability at any time. Also, the CMGA urged the defense and security forces to invest more in the missions that will be assigned and to increase vigilance. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim concluded that the preservation of territorial integrity, the securing of the key points, and the free movement of goods and people are the regalian missions of the defense and security forces. It is our duty to create a climate of peace in order to bring our buildings to the good development and the economic blooming of our country. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim stressed that the mission of any military is to protect Djiboutian and national interests in the face of future conflicts. Let us note that our military work in close collaboration with the regional authorities and the civilian population, especially in the difficult times within the framework of humanitarian assistance, help to the population, transportation of civilians, and many other areas. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim has, at the end of his speech, promoted to the higher rank the most deserving who have distinguished themselves by their merit and dedication. This promotion values the work of the soldier and encourages him to invest more. Each entity, as well as the soldiers of the Rapid Action Force, the paramilitaries of the National Police, and the gendarmes were able to benefit from this exceptional promotion. This ceremony ended with the hot meal around the table in a warm atmosphere. Under the leadership of Dr. Ahmed Roble, the Ministry of Health, in partnership with the National Institute of Public Health, is organizing the training of mentors for the training of file epidemiologists project, which will start on October 31 in Djibouti. These mentors, who are 6 in number, are file epidemiologists trained abroad and will acquire skills related to the supervision of future trainees during 3 days. This ambitious project is intended to train 200 files epidemiologists in basic epidemiology over a period of 3 months in Djibouti. As such, during 3 months, the participant of this project will be familiarized with the following concept. This training is file epidemiology will strengthen the capacity of public health system to identify and respond rapidly to the emergence of potential epidemic disease, including coronavirus. This will involve improving the collections, analysis, and disseminations of public health data at all levels for better decision making. Following a joint operation carried out by the Djibouti Coast Guard and the National Navy, individuals fishing illegally in the maritime waters of the Republic of Djibouti were apprehended. Thus, two type of boat, Galba, were intercepted during this operation, which also led to the arrest of 11 individuals of all of Yemeni origin who were engaged in illegal fishing activity. A significant quantity of fish of different species was also seized during this operation. The investigation was entrusted to the Brigade of Researches, Investigation and Judicial Affairs of the Coast Guard, while the boat were placed in seizure pending a decision of justice. As part of the fight against smuggling, agents of the National Customs, in collaboration with the military and security forces, have intercepted significant quantities of cat, firstly during the evening of October 17 to 18, during road control. Djibouti Customs seized a dozen packages containing cat and cigarette not stamped at the customs checkpoint of Pika 51. According to the customs officials at Pika 51, these illicit products were hiding in cars and were discovered by customs officers during searches. Also, in the framework of a fight against illicit goods, a significant quantity of smuggled cat was intercepted yesterday morning by the elements of the Djiboutian army at the military school of President Guled of Holhol. Thrown to the scrap by smugglers in escape, the merchandise was discovered by a group of soldiers of the military school of Holhol and customs agents in surveillance mission. For the international scene, in Romania, faced with the number of deaths and the saturations of hospital, despite health restrictions, the College of Doctors of Bucharest, an NGO representing doctors in the capital, has written an open letter to the countries entitled A Cry of Despair. It states that the medical system has reached its limit and denounces the low rate of vaccination, which reveals a lack of trust between doctors and the population. Only 35% of adults are fully vaccinated in Romania. Latvia, on the other hand, is reconfirming itself from Thursday until November 15th and is putting back in place a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. The daily contamination peak has never been so high. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.